So I'm all about these Milk Bar layer cakes. I've been making them left, right, and center. I haven't made one in a minute though, so I'd like to get back into it today. So far I've made the birthday cake, the popcorn cake, the German chocolate Jimbo layer cake, the pumpkin pie cake, the malt cake, the peppermint bark cake. Well, today I want to make the Dulce de Leche cake. Let's make it. So yeah, these cakes do take a long ass time to make, and anytime I'm about to embark on one of these journeys, I just have to like mentally prepare myself because it's a full day in the kitchen. And it's stressful at times, and it's like confusing because you're putting all these different things together, things you've never even seen before, and then you gotta assemble it all. So why are you doing it? Firstly though, I need to know what Dulce de Leche is, which I have no idea. I just picked this recipe, Dulce de Leche is sweetened condensed milk that has been caramelized, and it tastes like caramel. That's what it is. That's, you just learn these things and you get going. We're gonna start with the cake first because the whole recipe, it lists like the order how you wanna do it. So you start with the cake first. Let's do that. 115 grams of softened butter, 150 grams of sugar, 275 grams of Dulce de Leche, which again, I didn't know what it was, but I just looked for it in the store and I found it in the baking section. 3 large eggs, 1 large egg yolk, which has some gross part on it. 110 grams of buttermilk, 75 grams of oil, some sort of neutral oil. I'd show you, I don't want to spill it. 4 grams or a teaspoon of vanilla extract. That's a teaspoon, 4 grams of each. Baking powder and salt. 185 grams of flour. Recipe says cake flour. I don't have it. I'm just going with all purpose. This is one of those purposes. Firstly, you need an apron. You don't need to, but it's the Wild West out here. Secondly, let's heat up the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The silver fox. So let's just toss in the butter, yippee, and the sugar. Paddle attachment. So yeah, you can totally make this cake with, as they call on the streets, a granny mixer. It's totally cool. The cake's turned out. But now that I have a stand mixer, let's go. Cream together on medium-high for 2 minutes until light and fluffy. Add the Dulce de Leche into the big old pot. Mix this on high for another minute. So I'm gonna add the eggs one at a time, and after each egg, it's just gonna be like, mix it for a minute, add another egg. Mix it for another minute, add another egg. Mix it for 1 more minute, add the egg yolk. First egg, in you go. What the f am I doing, you? Why did I do that? If you want to watch that in slow instant replay, and now I'm busy removing the eggshell from this this mix. See? Okay, I think I got it all. Well, it's a pretty simple concept. You break the eggs into a bowl, and then you take these eggs and you drop them in one at a time. No shells. Beautiful. Stream in all the liquid ingredients one at a time. Buttermilk, this is the oil. Vanilla. Now once you've added all the liquid ingredients, then you're gonna turn this up to high. It's gotta all come together, no more streaks. It's gotta be homogeneous. It's gonna take like 4 minutes. Scrape down the sides of the bowl, yeah, same story, yeah. Haphazardly, I'm just gonna combine the salt and the baking powder into my flour. Let's give that a whisk. On very low speed, I'm gonna add the flour and I'm just gonna mix it for like 60 seconds. Okay, you can excuse us. In a baking pan, sheet pan, whatever you call this, I'm going to wipe off the counter first. Some flour that looks like it didn't go in the bowl. We'll just pretend like we don't see that. Butter up a baking dish. Do I need parchment paper? I probably need parchment paper. I don't know if I need the parchment. Parchment? Spread the batter evenly into this cake pan. Here we go. Although you might want a little bit of a snack in a second, so save some if you want some. Offset spatula, and just want to make it look evenly Stevenly. I'm gonna bake this for like 30-35 minutes, and halfway through, I'm just gonna rotate it. So after half an hour, not 35 minutes, the cake is done. Soft on the edges, and in the center, it's nice and bouncy. When you're going through the list of things that gotta happen, step number 1 is the cake. That's done. Step number 2, Just says whole milk. So there's some whole milk. That's done. Step number 3, dulce de leche. I have a jar right here. That's done. That means we're on step number 4, which is milk crumbs. So if we get a bowl, we're just gonna start throwing ingredients. 40 grams of dried milk powder, 40 grams of all-purpose flour, 25 grams of sugar, 12 grams a tablespoon of cornstarch, half a teaspoon of salt. Toss along, get it all mixed together. Who cares? Don't matter. Gonna add the 55 grams of melted butter. Let's mix so it starts to form into clusters. Onto the parchment paper. They should be sandy, but some are big, some are small. We got a good selection here, and I didn't really have to do any work. That's what I like. And I'm just gonna put this really quickly into the oven, 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm just gonna bake this for 20 minutes. See you on the other side. Oh, okay, the milk crumbs have cooled completely. 20 grams. Just a second. So I'm just gonna add 20 grams of milk powder on top of these. Give it a toss, toss. Then I need now melted white chocolate on top of the crumbs, yes. I'm gonna continue to toss this around every 5 minutes until it is completely dried. It might take a while because I used way too much white chocolate and it might not even turn out the way I want it to turn out. Let's just carry on and I'll worry about this later. Okay, guess who's back for an encore? So now we're gonna make our dulce de leche frosting. 325 grams of dulce de leche. And now I'm thinking about it, did I cheat by buying this in a jar, not making it myself? I may have cheated. 225 grams of softened butter, and we're gonna use a little bit of salt. Toss those milk crumbs. So in the silver fox, I'm gonna add the dulce de leche. Gonna add that along with the butter. It's gotta be softened, and a little bit of salt with the paddle attachment, of course. 6 to 8 minutes. Whoa, that's way too fast. If you wanted to look into the eyes of an angel, there you have it. Silky smooth. We got one last hurdle, which is the assembly of the cake. Honestly, I've made this cake so many times that this is almost second nature to me. I could do it blindfolded, but it's not complicated. And I feel like a broken record at this time because I'm always explaining in great detail how to stack layers on top of layers. And that's all you're really doing. It doesn't matter if you're messy about it or if you're very neat about it. There's no rules. First, we're gonna flip this open and take a look. So I got my favorite cake ring. Now these cakes are massive. So if you don't wanna do 6 inches like what I'm doing here, then don't do 6 inches. You can do 4 inches. This is as small as this goes, so I'm kind of restrained to that. 2 absolutely perfect circles. Perfecto. Oh, the joke. I was trying to do a joke. So I got a plate, cake ring, acetate. Okay, acetate in. Kind of fill in the bottom layer with all these junk pieces, knuckle it down, and that is your bottom layer cake. I got whole milk here. Whole milk is for the milk soak. So just soaking the bottom layer of cake, soaking the out of it with this milk. Now I'm just taking the dulce de leche, which is in the jar, and oops. I'm not really measuring out the dulce de leche because I have 2 jars that I'm able to use, and that's gonna be more than enough. So I have my milk crumbs. They were hanging out in the fridge, and they've turned into exactly what I'm looking for. So they're looking like little white pebbles, and it's just like 1/3 of these. So, okay, I'm happy with that. The dulce de leche frosting, 1/3 of it goes on this part here. Now this is runny. I don't know if it's supposed to be runny, but I'm going with it because it's too late now. So then you just repeat. You just stack until you run out of stuff. slow your roll because the dulce de leche doesn't need to go on the very top like that. That was an idiot move by a cocky son of a bitch. Just get that off. Doesn't need to be there. The remaining frosting on the very top. Smooth it out with your favorite offset spatula. Frosting on the top is a bit more runnier. Something that I did, most definitely, unless it's supposed to be like that, but I doubt it. But before I garnish it with the rest of the milk crumbs, I'm just gonna throw it in the fridge so that it can firm up, because if I add the milk crumbs now, they're just gonna sink. Faux pas. You can see the mess here. It's bad. So they're mostly in like the center and then they like spread outwards. Okay, so I need to get this into the freezer overnight for a minimum of 12 hours. Problem, I have a really tiny freezer. There's nowhere to put this. That's not even gonna fit if I wanted it to fit. So I need to switch. That was easier than I thought. So now I have it on a smaller plate. It should fit. Okay, probably need some plastic wrap on it. There has to be a better way of doing this. It's melting, it's melting. Okay, so that's like at the top echelon of Milk Bar cakes that I've had. It's right at the top. It's hard to grade them, but it's right at the top. When you take the cakes out of the freezer, you have to let them thaw at room temperature. I guess you could probably do it in the fridge, but I had it out in the kitchen today, and it's like freaking hot in here. And as soon as I started to unwrap that cake, it all just started spilling out. So it was melting. It was melting fast, and I didn't really have time to like admire it as much as I would like to. You can see it's melting. So if you would like to support the show, there's a couple different ways that you can do so. Firstly, there's Patreon, and that goes towards making things happen over here. You're considered like a producer of the show, so you get your name at the end of the credits. And I'm hoping to roll out some different perks over there very soon. So if you're interested in that, or if you're interested in like a t-shirt, all the earnings for that also go towards making the show happen. So if you want to check it out, you can check it out. If you don't, you just want to head over to Instagram, say hi to me over there, that's also an option. I'll see you guys very soon.